I have made the decision to dedicate this episode of Fuori Matrix to pay tribute to the Palestinian children, journalists, and doctors who are the true heroes, in order to ensure that those images can continue to be deeply ingrained in the consciousness of each and every one of us. I dedicated a poem to them that I want to read together with you. Dear children, on behalf of the so-called democratic West, I ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry for having witnessed your massacre helplessly. I apologize for not being able to shout our indignation loudly enough for what they were doing to you. I apologize because, for fear of being labeled as infamous, we have always started our speeches with the usual premise of condemning Hamas attacks in Israel, without ever reflecting on the stupidity or, to make matters even worse, on the cowardice of that statement. What is your involvement with the cowardly attacks of a group of terrorists? They were probably manipulated and pushed to act by the same individuals who are now pretending to hunt them in your homes, in your life, and in your innocence, causing destruction to everything. Without discrimination, they have bombarded your body and soul indiscriminately for something that you have no involvement in, and we, in a cowardly and evasive manner, distance ourselves from those who have absolutely no connection to you before discussing you in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry for not having taken care of you earlier, before a despicable assault caused the mask of your executioner to crumble. The cruelty of this person had already been evident for quite some time, if only we hadn't chosen to look away all these years. I deeply apologize for my role in allowing your childhood to be consumed in an open-air concentration camp, where you were condemned to a life sentence without trial and without forgiveness, and where you had no choice but to accept that your view of the world would forever be confined by barbed wire. I experienced deep shame on behalf of the civilized and democratic West to which I belong, when a journalist posed a question to one of you, the children of Gaza, asking what he would like to do when he grows up and becomes an adult. The response left me absolutely petrified. The little one, in fact, did not mention the astronaut, the firefighter, the gas station attendant, or the football player, as is typically the case when we ask the same question to our own children, which is quite surprising. In Gaza, you never become great, you die first, was the answer. In fact, your population is among the youngest, not because there is a future full of expectations and hope, but on the contrary, because there is no hope of a better life. I apologize for leaving you in a cage from which it is not allowed to escape. Fortunately, someone was able to provide you with a smile reminiscent of the child protagonist in Life is Beautiful, allowing you to believe that those missiles would never strike you, even though being aware that it was simply a question of time. A macabre game of Russian roulette is being played by a ruthless government on your heads, with the complicity and condescension of all of us in the so-called civilized and democratic West. I'm sorry for each instance when you felt fear instead of envisioning the destinations that the airplane passing overhead could have brought you to on the day you could have boarded it as well. I'm sorry for each instance when you witnessed a man dressed in camouflage lurking around your residence, causing fear to well up in your eyes. Considering the potential circumstances that could have unfolded regarding your father or your family, as opposed to feeling protected by that uniform representing the state, an entitlement that unfortunately was not afforded to you. I apologize for leaving you in a state of perpetual suffering since your birth, without even granting you the opportunity to experience a single moment of tranquility. I humbly ask for forgiveness for the weapons we sent to your executioner, as we deeply regret our lack of knowledge in effectively flooding the public squares in front of the images depicting your unspeakable and unimaginable suffering. I express my sincere apologies for the inaction of our politicians who chose to remain silent when individuals with a background in terrorist organizations were appointed as ministers in what they still insist on referring to as the largest democracy in the Middle East. Even when those executioners who are supported by our governments propose to hit you with atomic bombs, to level your homes to the ground, and to indiscriminately bomb everyone after defining you as animals or future terrorists, we stood against such inhumane actions and condemned them unequivocally. I express my sincere apologies for the grave mistake of allowing our media and soulless, unscrupulous journalists to call you collateral damage, which is an unacceptable and dehumanizing label. I apologize for forcing you to see scenes that a child should never see, hear explosions and screams that a child should never hear, to perceive the odor of death that a young person should never have to encounter.
What is this stuff?
Contained? Exactly. Please provide more information possible.
Contained? This
Success?
Did you sleep?
What occurred? What did you last explosion?
The explosion of
Contained?
So
قصر؟
are you scared now?
صار قصر عليكم ترينيا؟
You're not afraid. It's
Contained?
over.
خلاص مش خايف
Do not be
خلاص
scared. It is finished.
خلاص
You are
أيوة
here. All right? Therefore, are you prepared or not?
What do you want? Do you want to go? Now you go. Do you want to go? Let's see.
إذا تروح أجنبي
I regret that I am unable to do enough. In reality, I am unable to do anything at all, and I apologize for my limitations. I'm sorry for making you dig through the debris using only your bare hands instead of constructing sandcastles. I regret for letting everything be taken from you in a sudden moment of a powerful blast. I'm sorry for not asking earlier, but I would like to know how they live in Gaza. Why can't they go out? But above all, how do you live? When the very person who would like to see you all dead is also the only one who can provide you with water, food, medicine, electricity, and even doses the minimum calories you need to survive staying. They would have discovered numerous alternative methods to cause your demise. I deeply apologize for not asking you earlier about the potential ramifications you would endure if a group of criminals who are determined to completely annihilate you were to come into power in the country that currently occupies your lands. Regrettably, with our complicity and acquiescence, they have been placed in a position of authority to govern your lives in the most detrimental manner imaginable. I apologize for requesting forgiveness for causing you to fear the darkness to the same extent that you feared the light, the one that more and more frequently anticipated a devastating explosion. I apologize for all the instances when you turned around and discovered that there was no one to safeguard you, and you must have pondered what actions I had taken to deserve all of this. I apologize for being present here, writing and talking about you without having gone to lie down and chain myself outside an embassy, asking to be treated in the same manner that you are currently being treated. If we all did it, we would most likely save both of us. I apologize to your father and mother for not putting them in a position to protect you, for forcing them to leave you alone while they went to get you food and water, with the fear of having to search for you later under a pile of rubble, uncertain of your well-being and praying for your safety. I'm sorry for leaving you waiting for Mom all by yourself in the hospital, knowing that she would never return. I'm sorry for allowing you to drink salt water because you couldn't even ask for the basic human right of receiving humanitarian assistance. I apologize if we have been so cowardly, so passive, so blunt, so puppets. I apologize for a period of 75 years of absence that was not justified. I offer my deepest apologies for the letdown. I am well aware of your aspirations to be just like us, and I understand that you couldn't possibly imagine the kind of terrible individuals we were in what they commonly refer to as the democratic Western world. But prior to departing and entrusting you to your predetermined future, which we are not taking any action to alter in any way, kindly permit me to express my gratitude as well. Thank you for what you are teaching us, for the dignity that is still in your gaze despite everything, for the desire to live that is still in your smile, for the attachment to life that you are trying not to be torn away from. A big thank you as well to those doctors who have never ceased performing their duty out of conscience, not for monetary gain. Even when they received the ultimatum to leave, to evacuate, but they stayed there so as not to leave alone those among you who were not able to escape. The doctors who remained in their positions even when camouflaged monsters entered the hospitals, armed with the intention to terrorize them. Thanks to the Palestinian journalists who have been with you amidst the rubble and beneath the bombs in order to enable us to witness the hellish conditions in which we have abandoned you. To individuals such as Plestia, who never ceased to provide you with a smile. To Motazazais, whose family members lost their lives in retaliation. Awil, who discovered in real time that his wife and children had tragically been killed. Heroes who stayed by your side in an effort to at least try to save you, even though everything was already lost for them in that dire situation. And it is to you, the only heroes of everything we are witnessing, to you Palestinian children, doctors and journalists, that I want to dedicate this video found on the internet, because in this video there is the teaching that you will leave to the world, a world that did not deserve you.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place is much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. There are dreams stop existing and start